Welcome to your yoga journey. I am excited to take this together. Let me introduce myself. My name is Allison Irwin. I've been a yoga teacher for 5 years, and I've been practicing for closer to 20. This is a practice that is dear to my heart, as you can imagine, and I am thrilled to share it with you. Let's talk a bit about what the yoga journey entails. You'll be experiencing classes with me over the course of 8 different videos. And you'll be able to do them in any order you like, though we have laid out a few suggestions for you. You'll see that we'll start with building our connection to the floor, a lower body connection with leg strengthening, sense of groundedness, and a lot of strength that you'll build, which serves as the foundation for our physical yoga practice. We'll have a class on hip opening and finding fluidity. So in yoga, we talk a lot about flow, and you'll get that feeling of what is it like to feel both connected to the floor and also a sense of lightness and flow and fluidity. We have a class focused on the core, a really important part of our body. Our core wraps our entire center, so it's the strength of the front of your abdominals, your obliques on the sides, and your low back. And they're the support that will power you through not just your yoga practice, but your day-to-day movements throughout life. We have a class on heart opening, and that'll be all about shoulders and chest, neck. And then we have a few practices that are a little bit less about the physical practice, but they introduce other elements of yoga, which are equally important. So we'll have a practice that introduces pranayama. Pranayama are breath techniques. The word prana means your life force, and the root word yama means control. So how can we control our life force? Through manipulating our breath in some simple exercises to affect our energy. We'll have a couple classes for you as well, introducing meditation and guided relaxation. And we have a full-length class putting all of these elements together. I'm excited to take this journey with you. And feel free to bring a friend, to invite family to join you on the journey. We'll be going through this together as a community of people committed to ourselves. And you'll experience along the way, I think, some elements of challenge and some elements of support. I'm here to support you. I'm also here to challenge you. So that might mean on any given day you feel physically challenged. You might feel mentally challenged. You could feel spiritually or emotionally challenged. But you'll also feel physically supported, mentally supported, and spiritually supported. So I am thrilled to go through this with you. I know that you can do it, and I know that you'll achieve great benefit. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you on your mat. Welcome to your yoga program. My name is Allison, and we're here today to start class 1. We'll be focusing on the lower body, on our connection to the floor, and establishing the right foundation for your yoga practice. And as a reminder, a yoga practice is a lifelong journey. So along the way in this program, you'll be achieving individual milestones and eventually building up. So you might see me introduce certain movements that you can stick with for all of class today. You'll also see me introduce some options that you can add on either today, tomorrow, 4 months from now, whenever you're ready to progress. So this program's for everyone. I hope you enjoy it. We'll start standing on your mat. So I have a couple props with me that you're welcome to use if you have them. Bring 2 blocks to the front edge of your mat on their tallest height, about shoulder width apart. And if you have a blanket, this can be nice because we'll be on our knees for a bit of class. So folding the blanket maybe once or twice, lay it across your mat, maybe a third of the way from the back edge of your mat. If you don't have either of these, it's no problem, just something you might want to use if it feels better in your body today. Come to the top of your mat. I'll be standing at the center just so that I can see you. Bring your attention to your feet. Walk the center of your heels underneath your hip points and find your feet approximately parallel to one another. Gazing down at your feet, imagine a square on the ground. So the tops of your toes, the sides of your feet, and then a line connecting your heels. Imagine that you're creating a square. This square is our strong foundation. It's our connection to the earth. Lift all 10 toes. Spread your toes away from one another. From the outside in, lay your pinky down, your middle toes, your big toe. And feel how that might change your connection to the floor. Last little bit on your feet. Draw attention to your inner arches. Imagine that they're lifting up away from the ground like suction cups. And do you feel any change in your lower body? You might notice a little different muscular engagement. This is our base. Take your arms, roll your shoulders all the way up and back and down. If it feels good, turn your palms forward and close your eyes. This is mountain pose or Tadasana. As you take a couple moments here, feel the crown of your head line up over your heart. Feel the crown of your head reaching toward the sky while your legs and feet are rooting down into the earth. Deepen your breath. Taking a couple breaths here to settle in and out the nose if that feels comfortable. One more breath. As you inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, maybe lift your gaze to your thumbs. Exhale, turn your palms out, sweep the arms back down, join them at heart center, palm to palm. Two more. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, open the arms out, swing them back and down. One more time. We're practicing connecting movement to breath. Your breath is the link between your mind and your body here in this mindful yoga class. Good. One more. Inhale, sweep out and up. This time, pause. As you exhale, bend, fold over your legs. This is where you might want your hands on your blocks. Inhale, find a half lift. If you don't have blocks, hands to the front of your legs. Exhale, hands down. Step your right foot back, toes to the mat. Lower your left knee to the floor. This is where that blanket support can be nice for sensitive knees. Bring your hands so they frame your front foot. And imagine that your front left heel is energetically drawing back toward your back right knee. And your back right knee energetically draws towards your front heel. Notice how that might turn on a little bit of muscle work in your legs. I want you to focus on your inner thighs. Feel them drawing toward one another. Feel your front foot rooting down like it did in mountain pose. So toes spread, inner arches lift. Option to stay here, hands on the ground. Option to reach your arms up. We'll take 2 more breaths. Keeping that connection in the lower body, focusing on your legs. 1 more breath. Engage. Exhale, release your hands. Nice work. Lift your back knee, look forward. Step your back foot to meet your front foot. Find that square, feet, hips distance. Exhale, fold over your legs, soften your knees. Reach your arms out and up and rise all the way as you breathe in. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Let's try the other side. Big breath in, sweeping out and up. Fold forward, let it go. Hands to blocks or your legs, lift up halfway, flat back. Step your left toes all the way back. Feet are about hips width distanced here, not on a tightrope, but train tracks. Lower the back knee down. Engage your inner thighs, feel them drawing toward one another. Back heel, front knee, energetically moving toward one another. Front foot placed in that mindful way of toes spreading, inner arches lifting. Breathe into any sensation. Engage your core, and if you like, raise your arms. Take 2 more breaths where you are. As you exhale, release your hands back down. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, look forward with a flat back. Step forward, find the square with your feet. Exhale, fold. Rise all the way up. Gaze to your fingers. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Pause here. Take a couple breaths. Good. Now, if you have a block, we're going to use it in a new way. If you don't have the block, I'm going to encourage you to imagine the sensations I described. With your block, another alternative is a phone book or a thick book like a dictionary. We'll take the block between your inner thighs. The block is here to help us turn on that inner thigh engagement we were just practicing in low lunge. We start with our foundation, so find the square of your feet, and then begin to squeeze into the block with your inner thighs. Just pressing in, take a breath. Keeping that engagement of your legs, keeping pressing on the block. Now start to imagine the outside of your thighs are wrapping forward, in, and back. So this might be a unique sensation for you. We don't tend to move this way, which is why it's good to train. So outer thighs wrapping in and back, almost as if you could shift the block back in space behind you. So keep picturing that sensation of wrapping in and back without moving the knees or the feet very much. Wrapping in and back. This is called internal rotation of the thighs. Can you keep this shape in the lower body? Can you keep rooting into the floor, lifting the crown of your head? Adding on, keep the legs. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep the block. Inhale, sweeping out and up. Fold forward as you breathe out. That block keeps squeezing in and back. Hands lift halfway, flat back. And exhale, fold. Keep squeezing and rotating the block. Inhale, rising all the way up. Nice work. Hands to heart. Remove the block. Bring it back to line up with the other block. Close your eyes. And notice your inner thighs. Do they feel different? Can you find that sensation you were just feeling even without the block now? Can you feel that engagement, that internal rotation? This stance is a really great way to establish stability in our yoga practice. Let's try it another way. Turn and face your blocks. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way out and up. And folding forward, breathe out. Inhale, rise for your half lift. Step your right toes back. Lower the knee to the earth. Inhale, rise. Heart shines forward, arms reach up. If the shoulders are sore, hands can rest on the hips. We're keeping the focus in the lower body. Explore what it feels like to find that internal rotation now that we're in a new shape. So inner thighs keep drawing toward one another. You might find that helps your upper body lift a little higher. Rooting down into the lower body, lifting the upper body, finding that balance. What does it feel like to rotate the thighs in internal rotation? As you inhale, nice, one more big reach of the fingers to the sky. And exhale, hands release to frame your foot. Lift your back toes, look forward. Step forward, find a square in your feet. And exhale, fold. Rise all the way up. Keep the internal rotation of your thighs. And exhale, hands to heart. Other side, big breath in, sweep it out and up. Hinging forward. Flat back as you rise. Step your left toes back. Lower the knee to the earth. Find that engagement in the lower body as you find the lift in your upper body. Pressing into the floor with the feet, engaging inner thighs. Just noticing how it feels to breathe. If you're working, you're not alone. Keep breathing. I feel the shakes. Those are your muscles turning on. One more inhale as you sweep arms even higher. Exhale, hands release. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, look forward. Step forward. Fold. Rise all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Pause here. Take a couple breaths. Recovery breaths here. Noticing your heart pumping for you. Gratitude for this body and all that it can do. Let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and let everything go. Nice work. Find your block. Bring it back between the inner thighs. Find your foundation in your feet. Feel the engagement of the inner thighs like we've been working on. Find a micro bend in your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms forward alongside your ears. I'll turn to the side so you can see. Exhale, sit your hips back. This is chair pose, Utkatasana, sometimes called fierce pose. So feel a little fierce here. Squeeze the block, reach your hips back. Inhale behind your heart so your heart stays lifted. Again, if your shoulders are sore, release hands to the hips, focusing on the lower body, pressing down, drawing the thighs inward, firing everything up. For 2. And 1. Inhale, reach forward. Keep your block. Exhale, fold. Straighten your legs. Let your head go. Inhale, half lift. Release the block. Stay here. You've got it. Hand to the blocks or the earth. Step your right foot back. You can lower your knee like we've been doing, or give it a try on your back toes. And if you rise up, this is crescent lunge. So option for crescent lunge on your back toes or low lunge on your back knee. Squeeze the inner thighs. There's a theme today. Keep engaging lower body. Breathing in, reaching tall. Stick with your breath. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands release, frame your foot. Flat back, look forward. Step forward, a little change here. Exhale, left foot back. Option on your knees or your toes. Rise on up. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Engage into the lower body. Feel how you press into the floor. It lets you lift in the upper body. One more full breath. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Flat back, look forward. Step forward. And fold. Let it go. Soften your knees. Drape your chin towards your heart. You might want to hold opposite elbows. Take a moment, a couple breaths. It might feel good to sway a little here. And inhale for your half lift again. We'll transition to the floor. Take your time coming down. Nice work. Take a bit of a cool down, a couple more yoga poses. If you have a blanket, I'm going to encourage you to fold it about a couple inches high, maybe more, maybe less. No particular requirement. We're folding the blanket so that we can sit on the edge of it. And I'll show you why we're doing that. So come to the edge of your blanket and feel how that might help your hips feel a little more lifted than your knees. Sometimes if we sit back on our tailbone, our knees hike up toward our heart, toward our arms. But if you sit forward on the blanket, your pelvis, your hips rotate in a way that lets the knees settle. You've just done a lot of work. Let's take a cleansing breath into the nose and out the mouth. 2 more together. One more. Awesome. You've stretched those inner thighs, or you've worked those inner thighs. Now we'll stretch them. Bring the soles of the feet together, your knees wide. If you have blocks, this is a good place for them to support outside your thighs, outside your knees, like I'm showing. And with your blocks, you can set them on any height. So they can be high, medium, or low, depending on what feels most supportive to you. Inhale, lift your heart, maybe a little arch of the low back as we stretch. And exhale, scoop your tailbone towards your heels as you roll your heart back and lower your chin. These are slow movements, a couple more. Inhale, feel how you're rocking on your pelvis, tailbone reaching back, stretching the front of the body. And exhaling, curling the tailbone under, rounding the low back. And one more. Notice how this feels in your inner thighs. Inhale, rocking forward on your tailbone so your belly's long, a little arch in your low back. Pause here. You can choose to stay here. Another option is you can start to soften your elbows, drawing your heart more towards your heels. Maybe letting the head go. Settling into some breath here for your hips and your thighs. In yoga, we balance our effort with rest. Equally important to find the muscular engagement that you were, to find the effort that you'll experience during this program. Just as important as finding the softness, the release, a sense of ease. Balancing it out, take a few more breaths. As you're ready, walk yourself back up. Return to a seat. And the next place we'll go is down to your back. Rolling down, let the length of your spine and the back of your head rest on the mat. Plant your right foot on the ground. Draw your left ankle on top of your right knee. And let your left knee gently rest open to the side. You can stay here, focusing on breathing into the hips if this stretch feels good. Another option is you can hold behind your right thigh, lift that foot off the ground, and it might feel nicer to draw both legs in towards your chest. Anytime your yoga teacher offers you options, it's a chance to explore and decide what's best for you. So if you try one and the other, neither is inherently better or worse. It's what feels best today in your body in this moment. Give yourself one more full breath into your hips. And uncross your ankle. Draw your knees together. Draw them into your heart. Give yourself a little hug. Release your left foot to the floor. Cross the ankle over your knee. Open that right knee out to the side. Option to stay here. Option to try drawing the legs in, holding behind your left thigh. You choose. Softening any tension you're holding in your face or shoulders. Letting your breath be soft. One more. Uncross the ankle. Give yourself another hug, holding on behind your thighs or the tops of your knees. Maybe a small roll on your low back, side to side. Release the arms. Bring the backs of your hands to the mat, wider than your shoulders. Send your legs long, feet maybe about as wide as your mat, wider than your shoulders. This is Shavasana, our final resting pose of class. It's a very important pose because it gives your body time to relax, to settle in back to its natural shape, natural state after all the work that you've done. Throughout the course of this program, anytime you come to Shavasana, you're welcome to stay as long as you like. Today, we'll take a few breaths together and then stay as long as you can, as long as feels comfortable. Over time, maybe working up to 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20. Begin to let go of your breath. There's no need to control it. Let your mind do whatever it wants to do. So maybe it wanders. Maybe you fall asleep. People have all sorts of different experiences any given day. The important part is that you commit to at least a couple moments in your final Shavasana. Rest here as long as you'd like. Taking care when you're ready to come back. Pausing to notice how you feel. This is also a great opportunity to set an intention for the rest of your day. Thank you for practicing with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day.